Basically, a contestant will have to spend, in the case of fashion technology, the contestant will have to spend about 20 hours of competition. And each section of competition in fashion technology, for example, is divided into sketching, draping, dressmaking, jacket, pattern making and construction, and embellishment. And then they are subdivided into various modules for marks. For example, for sketching there are 11 modules. For draping there is 9 modules. For dressmaking 23 modules. Jacket 43 modules. Embellishment 14 modules, making it 100 points. So it is not easy that every competitor can really master all these subcomponents of one competition. So that is where we lose the grade in terms of what you've seen, almost 75 to 100 points difference between the contestants. The students getting exposed to the actual competition arena, which I was just talking about, 100,000 children being brought in batches to take through this actual arena of the competition, witnessing some of the contestants actually participating and doing what they're doing, is a great experience for the children. And I am sure that in 10 years time, most of these children will be contestants, because every country, if you really look at, they are giving a lot of importance to skill training. 96% of Koreans, for example, are skill trained, or 52% and more in USA. So every country compared to India, which is about 7 to 10% of skilled people, is far ahead in terms of skilled training. So if host countries like Brazil could imagine that their future generation need to be skilled, and therefore they bring them in batches and show the competition progress, it shows that they are really concerned about how to skill the newer generation. Now the point which we need to now look at is the competition of 2017, which is taking place in October in Abu Dhabi. It's just few months away, and there is a large number of graduates from NIFT and other institutions, maybe about 450 fashion institutes and various polytechnics and various other institutions in this age group of 17 to 20 are available. And I do not understand why the lack of participation, sufficient participation of Indian contestants, not only in fashion but in all other skills which I just narrated to you, which are more than I think 72 countries are now members, and I just told you about 60 competitions were taking place in for 1,200 contestants. So if there are more contestants who are going from India in different categories, our country will have a greater representation of the skills which are really possible for India to really do well. And if we do not have a plan in terms of whether it is Olympics, whether it is Asian Athletics Championships or any kind of games for that matter. Similarly, World Skills is also a universal, a global competition platform. And our skills, when they go into a competition which is a global arena, and it shows where we stand, it also shows how skilling India is such a challenge for us going forward. Because in the Human Performance Index, in 2016, for example, we have slipped in ranking from 78 to 105th. So this is a very serious situation where in Human Development Index, skills play a very important role. And in the skill competition, if the skill competitions we are not doing well, and in terms of skilling with knowledge and knowledge with skills are not given adequate attention. For example, universities who are providers of knowledge need to provide skills to the students, because then they will become employable. The vocational providers who are giving skills should give them conceptual knowledge so that they can grow in an aspirational society through the ecosystem of growth. Both these are really not sufficiently emphasized, leading to a decline in the ranking of human capital. I am told that the only other countries which are behind, Nepal is 108th and Pakistan 118, worse than India. But ahead of us, Sri Lanka is 50th, Bhutan is 91st, and Bangladesh, who is our major competitor in apparel export, is 104th. So obviously BRICS countries with which we are compared, And now we have Brazil ranks 83rd in Human Capital Index, Russia 28th, China 71st, and South Africa 88th. And this has ranked 130 countries, and we are 105th in Human Capital Index. Is not really giving us that kind of a comfort level. And I therefore believe that Human Capital Index in the current context of skilling India is even more important. And therefore competitions like World Skills competition coming up in Abu Dhabi in 2017 and thereafter, we need to have a very clear strategy that every 2 years when this competition comes, how will Indian skilled contestants perform, and where do we want to reach? When are we going to get those golds or silver in the next competition, and how are we going to prepare? I am sure that the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship is doing a great job by encouraging associations like FICCI and organizations like NSDC to take a lead in this. But this is not sufficient. But our preparation levels need to be far ahead in terms of just holding workshops now 3-4 months earlier than this competition is not enough. We need a serious level of preparation lasting over 3 to 4 years ahead of the competition in terms of preparing the students for or the candidates for the competition. So my request to all the young viewers is that the message of world skills need to be really understood, and how India can perform better, how you can encourage somebody whom you have noticed in visual merchandising or baking or bricklaying or landscaping or whatever. How are they being encouraged to join the force and come to the competition, including the fashion technology contestants? We need to really perform better. It is not a good thing for India to slip into a Human Capital Index or come back with a 100-point difference between the contestants from China and Switzerland and Brazil, and say that we just participated. So I hope that the participation level of not only our competitor, who is really doing well at this point, Parvez, and I would hope that this particular segment of my conversation will feature both Zulfikar Bhutto of our earlier contestant in the 2015 Sao Paulo competition, and whom we are now preparing, Parvez Ansari, for the next level to give you some tips, give you some ideas about how Zulfikar participated and how Parvez is now preparing for the competition coming up in Abu Dhabi. I wish everyone who is watching this to take this message and share this conversation, the video, to more and more people, to take this message for India to do well in the competition coming up in Abu Dhabi.